On a stormy night in the summer of the 1967, inside the walls of women's prison, a woman struggles with a labor pain. Everyone is surprised around her, wondering how could a woman who spent her second years in prison, devoid of any man, get pregnant so quick, and her belly was not swelling during the day. What is even more strange is that this woman claimed that the father of the child had died, and she was pregnant for 2 years. The birth has been done successfully, and the child emerged from the womb of suffering, confused and shocked while he is in silence. The strange thing is that usually, when a child is born, he began to cry immediately. In a religious interpretation, it is said that the cause of the screaming is a touch from devil, and the only child who didn't cry when he was born is Jesus. In an indirect indication that this birth scenario is similar to the birth of Christ, but the matter is different here. The birth happens in the dirtiest place where humans meet, and from impure mother convicted of some crime. Is he a new savior, or the devil incarnate? And since his mother still has 2 years to spend in prison, the child was sent to his mother's hometown to live in Sardinia, in the arm of the priest in one of the churches. The child has grown, who was known as Solidonaso, was rumored to be a cute animal-loving boy, didn't appear to have the traits of intelligence and confidence, which made him the subject of harassment of. At the age of 17, he met a beautiful girl named Donatella Una and entered with her into a love relationship. During that period, this young man was living the best days of his life, as his father allowed him to fulfill his dream of becoming a sailor instead of priest. At the age of 19, he became a dad, but he didn't realize that, because he was far from his girlfriend. And when his father found out he was in a relationship with a girl, he thought it was time to get him a car. While digging in the tiles to prepare the garage for the new car, he discovered the presence of a woman buried with her mouth closed, and she's still alive. Not any woman, it's the mother who gave birth to his adopted son. And while the old man was amazed at the ugliness of the scene, the disobedient son surprised him with something sharp from behind. On the same night, a fire broke out in that village, causing the death of 7 people, and that boy was included in them. But in fact, he left the village safely, wiping out any trace of his existence. Then he set out on a journey looking for the strength, and in the Egyptian desert he found out what he wanted: a group of arrows. He sold some and used the rest to build Italia's largest mafia gang, posting himself as its leader. The most powerful gang in the country deals in drugs and sell them to everyone who pay, even if they are children. The boss was keen to keep his identity unknown and was brutally killing everyone who tried to reach him, so that he would spread terror among all the gang members, and everyone would realize his true position and the fate that waited him if he tried to reach the boss. Despite the complex system that was imposed by the boss to reach him and change his place constantly, however, something is bothering him. Turns out that he was a daughter and she's still alive, which poses a danger, and it could be a threat that stalkers can exploit to reach him. Since the boss realized how dangerous the matter is, he decided to appoint the best team belonging to his organization to supervise the beginning of his daughter. It's the Bucciarati gang, with the newest member, Giorno Giovanni, the teenager who has a dream. Despite the many obstacles caused mainly by the rebellious gang, La Squadra, headed by Resettonel, Bucciarati and his comrade managed to reach their final destination on top of one of the abandoned buildings, and under certain conditions, Torish will be handed over the boss. Bucciarati and Torish go to the building and enter the elevator, and in the blink of an eye, the boss has kidnapped his daughter and bring her down to be alone with her and destroy the rest of his breeds. Bucciarati stands in shock and decides to rebel against the boss, who does not see him worthy of this position because he is dehumanized. Bucciarati pursues the boss, interrupt the burial ceremony of his past mistakes, and the confrontation began. A one-side confrontation. Bucciarati failed to deliver a single punch to the boss, who was not shown his face, but he showed his true ability to predict what will happen in the next 10 seconds, and the ability to erase time. His ability from his stand King Crimson, who succeeded in delivering deadly punches to Bucciarati. With an expected move, and before too late, Bucciarati escapes the boss with Torish. Giorno and his companions storm the building, and he treats the injuries of Bucciarati with his special ability. Since the boss realizes that abundance overcomes courage, he decides to make a tactical with the trouble that may affect his ego, because he always saw himself as the king of the kings. But he will return to take revenge and satisfy his ego again when he has the opportunity. The boss begins to send members from his organization with the aim of eliminating his daughter, Bucciarati, and his gang, but they fail each time. The danger increases. Bucciarati gang is heading towards Sardinia, the place where the boss grew up, using the ability of Stunt Apache Modi Blues, who can recreate events. The image of the boss will appear in front of everyone and reveal his identity. The boss has only one choice, sending the only person he trusts, Doppio, his body partner, and his second half. The young Doppio arrives in Sardinia in order to sabotage Bucciarati's plan to reveal his identity by killing Apache. While Doppio is watching closely, an unexpected enemy appears. Doppio tries to pretend to be a normal person, but Risotto Nero is smart enough to discover that this young man is allied with the boss, and maybe the boss himself. Then a bloody fight begins, and despite Risotto's superiority and Doppio's repeated call to the boss, he refuses to intervene, except in the last moment. Risotto dreams is realized when the boss reveals himself, and using his ability to erase time, makes Aerosmith bullets that are aimed at him pass through him and kill Risotto. Once again, fate stands with the boss, who take advantage of circumstances to the fullest, but he is exhausted from losing a lot of iron from his body due to Risotto's stunt ability. He doesn't have much time. Apache is almost finished, and his identity will be revealed to everyone. There is no other choice. The boss eats a frog hidden behind the rocks, hoping to give him some iron to accomplish what he can for. A group of children are playing on a beach. In a jiffy, the boss kidnaps one of them and takes his clothes. He throws the ball over a high branch and then asks for help from Apache, who begins to approach. Taking advantage of Apache's inattention, the boss directs a powerful punch through Apache's body and kills him. The mission was done successfully. The boss departs, leaving behind a lot of tears that will soon dry when Bucciarati's gang realizes that Apache escalated the last face he saw before his death, which is the face of the boss. It seems that the mission was not completed as successfully as he thought, and it seems that this is not the first time that he has failed in his mission. The former enemy, who was supposed to be dead, appeared on the horizon with a lot of information and maybe something more dangerous. The boss notices that everyone is quickly leaving the island. This is strange. Aren't they supposed to be mourning the death of their friend, or are they roaming the island looking for me? The boss makes calls to know that they are heading to Rome, and it seems that the matter is important. Not only did the boss take a plan to raise them there, he also sent one of the dirtiest gang members to obstruct and kill them, which they failed to do because the newcomer, the teenager Giorno Giovanni, who has a dream. Everyone is heading toward the Colosseum in the middle of the Italian's capital, Rome. The boss proceeds toward them and notices that someone is watching from the top of the Colosseum. The boss takes advantage of the soul's resemblance to his daughter Trish and the physical blindness that afflicted Bucciarati, and sneaks into the Colosseum to race everyone to meet Jean-Pierre Polonara, who sits shocked in his wheelchair and pronounced the name of the boss for the first time. Diavolo! Diavolo steps forward towards Polonara to take from him the arrow that everyone has gone for, which will give him the power that will satisfy his higher self and establish his place as the king of the kings and the first gang boss. Diavolo attacks his target, but Polonara has enough experience to avoid the hit. But experience is not enough to face this mighty power before Diavolo delivers his final hit. In a desperate move, Polonara stops himself with the arrow, resulting advanced stand called Silver Chariot Requiem. Things get worse when Silver Chariot Requiem activate his ability and souls exchange bodies. Since Diavolo is two souls in one body, Doppio's soul inhabits Bucciarati's Ricky body, and Diavolo's soul share the same body with another soul. Diavolo takes the chance and remains looking in silence, collecting information, waiting any opportunity to get out and kill one of them, which he succeeds in doing. And while everyone was chasing after Silver Chariot Requiem, who was moving aimlessly and protecting the arrow in his hand, the new member, Giorno Giovanni, noticed something strange. Diavolo is among us, and I will check it out with my ability. Diavolo finds himself in awkward position. He is revealed, and he has no choice but to get out. At the right moment, he comes out and directs a powerful punch to Giorno, cutting off his hand. Giorno brings it back with his ability to heal things. Diavolo discovers how to control Mista's body, which he shares with his daughter, and starts to run towards Silver Chariot Requiem. Despite desperate, attempt to stop him. He arrives with the trick to stop this dangerous stand, and indeed, he succeeds in that. It's true that he did not completely destroy him, as his ability to exchange souls is still working, but the most important thing is that he left the arrow that was under his protection. With all his might, Diavolo heads towards the arrow that will make him invincible. But suddenly, before he catches the arrow, his body-sharing daughter uses her stand to stop him and throw the arrow away. His past mistakes still hinder him, even in the most important battles in his life. Regret and intense anger overwhelm Diavolo. He delivers a powerful punch through King Crimson at the body he and his daughter contain. Enter he flies into the air and chases after the arrow. It might be a hurtful hit, but the results are the most important. Diavolo gets what he wants and holds the arrow with his hand, and in a strange scene, the arrow crosses through him, as if Diavolo was just a picture. Why I can't hold the arrow? What's the problem? Things get worse after Bucciarati permanently disabled the ability to exchange souls, which means that Diavolo returned to his body and moved away from the arrow again. Diavolo enters another conflict. A conflict between pride and the mind that thinks it's better to withdraw because the skills are different. The arrow for some reason didn't work while he facing 3 stand users. It's not the first time that Diavolo has entered this conflict, but the withdrawal is different this time. It will be in front of everyone, which means a stab to his pride and his ego. The King of Kings chooses the confrontation, especially when he sees with his ability that he is victorious. Rushing towards Giorno Giovanna, who stops himself with the arrow. Diavolo approaches confidently and delivers a fatal punch that knocks Giorno out. But there is something strange. The arrow is diving inside him while he is still alive. Diavolo resumes punches, and the crusts are falling off from Giorno's stand to reveal a new stand, Golden Experience Requiem. But Diavolo still sees only one truth, the victory. Diavolo activates his ability and erases time, and because he is the only one who able to move consciously and freely in the erased time, he moves toward his enemy to stand behind him, waiting for time to resume, to strike his final hit to achieve the victory he saw. Something strange happens. The time that was erased comes back again, as if Giorno's stand reflects King Crimson's ability to make it worthless. Diavolo stands in shock as Giorno Giovanna steps forward in confidence. Giorno Giovanna, son of Dio. In Italian, the word Dio means God. On the other hand, Diavolo in Italian means devil. The devil who was born in a scenario similar to the Son of God in Christianity. And in a strange religious metaphor, the Son of God is heading towards devil to direct him into a barrage of deadly punches that throw him into the river. But fate wills, as every time, to stand with Diavolo, who is still alive. Diavolo narrowly comes out of the water and finds himself inside the tunnel, in which a group of children are in panic state taking drugs. One of them approaches Diavolo in his worst condition and fatally stabs him. The fate wills to make one of the victims of the practices of the organization headed by Diavolo to be the one who ends his life. It seems that the fate that Diavolo always thought he was standing with was in store for him, the ending he deserved. The end of the man who built an empire based on fear and intimidation instead of trust. The man who lived his life seeking to defeat his weaker self and erase the mistakes of the past that caused him fear. The man who only cares about the results. Diavolo was born in strange circumstances, lived a strange life, and died in a strange way. Is he really dead? Or he is still dying?